All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 2 of No Holds Barred Wrestling Podcast on the Fids Talk Sports Network, but also, I would say, the inaugural episode of No Holds Barred on the Go Live Sports Cast app. Josh, this is a new era, some would say. Of course, we're still starting out as an era for us, but kind of a restart there. But first off, before getting all that, how are you?
Pretty good, man. Pretty sunburnt. You see my face? Am I red? Am I like
Little
Ric
bit.
Flair red when he's, there's a certain wrestlers when they get into their promo mode. Rick was one of them. His face would get beat red like right away, and that's how I feel right now. Like just beat red. How you feeling?
Man, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling very good. It's my second show of the day. Did Finn's talk earlier today, talking about the Dolphins and their schedule. We had a great show, a lot of viewers out there, and I was so excited, looking forward to tonight. You and I have been working hard about getting this episode ready. We're excited about our new relationship with Go Live Sports app, and just to talk about that very quick, guys, for those who are watching here on YouTube, look, you'll have there in the description. Go to their link. You could download that application on Roku. If you have it on your TV, will be broadcasted tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern. The same episode will be on every week for the foreseeable future as of now. They have a lot of great stuff on there. I was tuning in throughout the week, just going to catch their stuff. They had they're a branch off of the Ocho, I think, and ESPN 2. They have wife carrying contests. They got indoor soccer. They got esports. People playing the Rocket League. They had an auction off there. So now we're a part of that family there of the secondary sports. So we're excited. I'm excited, at least. And I'm just ready to get this freaking ball rolling, man. World of wrestling is never boring. Hasn't been, and this is a great time to be doing this. The way the world of wrestling is right now, how on fire it is. People who were not interested or used to be interested and kind of fell off are now starting to creep their way back in. Before we get into Raw, Smackdown, AEW, etc., has anything grabbed your attention this week that made you go, whoa, in professional wrestling?
Like, whoa. For me to be whoa in anything, it'd be Cody Rhodes rumors of him going somewhere else, or CM Punk rumors of choking out Jungle Boy in the backstage. It's hard to whoa me these days. I've been watching wrestling all my life. Nothing really backstage or nothing really on the TV shows that went, wow, that was exciting, or wow, that was great. But there was a lot of good stuff. And, a lot of story-driven content on Raw and SmackDown. AEW had a really good show this week. Nothing great, but really, really good. It seems like they're up and down with their shows. So nothing spectacular, but solid. And you're right. What a time, man. When two companies are on top, and I'm not saying that they're on the same level, but when two companies are on national television and competing against each other, that's when wrestling's at its peak. When do we see this last? The Attitude Era versus Nitro, right? The Monday Night Wars. This isn't on that level, but it's something. And it's something that a lot of people never had. There's a lot of wrestling fans out there that never saw the Monday Night Wars. They only can relive it on Peacock or through the documentaries. Now they're getting a little glimpse of it, and it's pretty good. It's pretty cool. I love it.
It's so funny that you've said that, and I know this was not on our outline, but I should have put it there. In our outline, for those who don't know, that's like our step by step of what we're going to discuss. But you said that, and I thought about it. What could turn it truly into the second coming of the Monday Night Wars? I know people want to pretend that it is. It's really not. It's not at that level yet. Let's just be real. AEW is its own beast. WWE's own beast. WWE's up here. AEW is here. Not to be it's just they haven't got to this point yet. But for WCW, even though they were around for a long time from the NWA, and then they built the WCW, and they weren't on WWF's level until even when Hulk Hogan went there, they started getting there. Like people started really tuning in to WCW, but it was still kind of WWF's ball game until Scott Hall and Kevin Nash went there. Then the NWO was formed, and then WCW just took off. And of course, the Austin era eventually took over, and that's what helped win that war. What could be the catalyst? Jon Moxley hasn't done it. Bryan Danielson hasn't done it. Mercedes Moné is not doing it. What do you, and in the Young Bucks storyline, we're going to touch on that, but it hasn't done it yet. So what would be an event in your mind that'd be like, this could really turn the tide? This can actually make it a fight.
They would need Tony Khan has stepped down as creative, because the stories or lack thereof is driving people away. You can't prove the proof is in the ratings. I'm not a big ratings guy. I think if a show's good, a show's good. If you don't watch it, I'm sorry. The NHL has the lowest ratings of all sports, but I think it's the best content out there for the sports, and besides the NFL. So that's my point on that. They would just need story, something like the Bloodline, something like that to drive people in. And I think they try to do that with the Matthew and Nicholas, the Elite versus AEW. Hurting Tony Khan, putting him out, hurting Kenny Omega, putting him out. They're trying to do this. It's just not working because of the people they're using. And we will get into that in AEW. Trust me. But you got to think about the people they brought over. You just named Jon Moxley. People look at him and they thought of him as the third member of the Shield. It was always Rollins, Roman, Moxley. So they got third best. You said Bryan Danielson. He's way past his prime. People know he's going to retire very soon. Actually, this year or next year. He actually said it. You got Adam Copeland, way beyond his prime. You're not getting these guys in their prime. If you could have landed a Drew McIntyre, he just re-signed. Kevin Owens, he re-signed about 3 years ago when there was rumors. Roman Reigns, like Randy Orton, Randy Orton was talking to AEW, but they're only talking to AEW to get a bigger contract from WWE. That's it. They had no plans of going. You guys think Becky Lynch is really going to go over there to that clown show? I don't think so. It's not going to happen. That's what they need, and they're just getting secondary stars. And I love Cesaro. I love Moxley. Actually, I don't love Moxley anymore. I fell out of love with Moxley because of AEW. But they're getting guys that we wanted. Malachi Black. Man, They're not pushing him. Andrade. They're not pushing him. They get to AEW. We're like, woohoo, they're going to push Claudio. We wanted Cesaro to be a top guy. Where's he been for the past 3 years? Been the fourth best person in his own faction. So Tony Khan's doing the same exact thing Vince McMahon did. Whereas Malachi Black hasn't had a singles match ever, I don't think. Ever since Cody Rhodes. He's finally getting one. Miro, we wanted him to get pushed. Rusev Day was huge. He goes over there. Where'd he go? So all these guys that the fans wanted, went over there and we're like, this is going to be awesome. We're finally going to get a push. We're finally going to get our guys on top of the card. But in reality, they went right back to where they were in WWE. So we as fans, and I'm saying we because I'm one of them, have lost faith in the company. You used to get $1 million viewers to lead into AEW. Now you don't. You used to get 800, 900,000 people watching the show. Now it's down to 600,000. The ratings speak for themselves. People are falling off because we're losing faith in Tony Khan. That's it. I mean, I'm sorry. One last thing. And this is not on our rundown, but I wish it was. We talked about it on Real Talk Wrestling earlier in the week. Ricky Starks had an interview with What Culture, and he said, I don't know why I'm not on television. I don't know. I'm not hurt. There was dirt sheets saying I was hurt. I'm not hurt. I'm fine. I don't know why I'm not. He's one of the biggest stars in that company. People love him. People are behind him.
Is this the guy who said that about Shelton Benjamin, that he's better? Is that the same one? Did I read that right?
I don't know anything about Shelton Benjamin and Ricky Starks, but this is the guy who he's friends with CM Punk. That has something to do with it. And Adam Copeland recently had a promo battle with Ricky Starks. And Ricky Starks said something to Adam Copeland that Adam did not like. Called him a bug-eyed freak or something like that. And ever since then, he's been off television.
Interesting. And that's the issue too. For me, I'll stay on this topic here because right there, you see how we know it's hard not to see the dirt sheets and everything. You got the Dave Meltzers of the world, etc., who say every little detail that what happens behind stage. And of course, there's a lot of things you see about WWE. The Tiffany Stratton thing, what's going to happen here and there. You see little bits and pieces, but AEW, it's like all of their backstage business is out in the forefront. It's like, this Ricky Starks when the CM Punk and Tony Khan, and then they released a video, and all this, and they let all this business to go out there. And then when they try to pull a storyline, I know I'm kind of butting head here, but excuse me, when they try to do a storyline like they're doing now, where the All Elite, the Young Bucks, and they do this to Tony Khan, and now they're taking over, it's hard to buy into it. it's hard to buy into because it's more entertaining backstage. It's what they should have done was to use what happened backstage and bring it out here. Hey, you know what? Use that and bring it here. Now it's reality TV. Now people are going to want to see, because they don't know if let's say they would say, hey, CM Punk, Phil, whatever. I know you can't stand him, but I'm going to give you an extra $1 million to go put up a badass match, because now Josh Kimmel's going to go, I don't know if he's going to real lay a haymaker, or is he going to protect him? They've done that in WWE where they've turned the backstage, you think of Edge and Matt Hardy. Remember that? I mean, when Matt Hardy came from the back and stormed Edge, and you're like, holy, is that real? We knew it happened. We knew he messed around with Lita. We knew that was a real thing. Matt Hardy was in a relationship with her. He was out. Edge and Lita fooled around. Their relationship. Then all of a sudden, Matt Hardy comes out of nowhere. WWE was smart. They bring that to the forefront. They bring it on stage. They say, hey, we're going to give you all this money to put on the best show. That's what AEW is missing. They're allowing all their personal business out in the forefront, but they're not taking advantage of that. And so it's, you asked me that question earlier in the week, which was the, and if tell me if I'm wrong. The question was, is that storyline, the Young Bucks versus Tony Khan, does it bring in the casual fan or someone like me who doesn't really watch AEW? And it's like, I saw it. I was kind of, how do I say? I didn't really buy it. First off, he can't sell, which is, I understand. He's not, it's like McMahon. They're not wrestlers, and he's living his dream. I don't have hate or anything against Tony Khan for being involved. I get it. You're a diehard wrestling fan. You got all the money in the world. You're living your dream. You want to get beat up. Of course you do. Just don't win the world title. Don't do something stupid like that, but we're cool. I get it. Probably should have took some acting classes before that move to know when to sell, not wait 2 seconds all of a sudden start holding your gut, But it's hard for me, someone like me. First of all, it doesn't bring me in. It doesn't mean go, let me turn on AEW this week. I want to see what's going on. But it also, again, because it's hard, and it's also hard for me to buy into it because I know it's more interesting behind the scenes. Does that make sense at all?
It does make sense. Everything you said just made sense. And to bring it back, your point of everything in the backstage is out in the front, it's because the people involved in the storyline, from Tony Khan to Matthew Jackson to Nicholas Jackson, they're the ones talking to Dave Meltzer. They're the ones telling him what's going on. They're the ones who are leaking all this information because they're addicted to the stress. They're addicted to the attention. They're addicted to nonsense. They've always have been. I told you to watch Being the Elite because you'll get a backstage. You'll get to know Matthew and Nicholas as real people. They're petty AF. They're really petty, and just as petty as CM Punk. But the difference is between CM Punk and this is a totally different story, but it's going to tie in, guys. Follow me. CM Punk will go make money. CM Punk will work with Seth Rollins, even they don't like each other in real life.
No,
they don't. That was the reaction from Seth Rollins at Survivor Series is known now as real. When he was telling him to F off and he was mad after the match, he didn't know. Nobody knew. Go watch the Ariel Helwani interview. Nobody knew that he was going to be out there. Only a couple people knew. Seth wasn't one of them. That was a real reaction. But they were willing to put everything aside to go make money. Now, because CM Punk's a professional, I've turned the other way. I am a huge CM Punk fan now. I've turned it back.
You weren't. You were like, you called him Phil. I remember we mentioned it and you were like, no, yeah. So good.
Because I thought he was the one killing AEW. But then I realized as he left, nothing got better. They were the ones in the ring reenacting the fight, making fun of it. Kenny Omega biting someone's arm mid-match. The other guy's botching a buckshot lariat because CM Punk botched a buckshot lariat. Then I started to realize maybe the Young Bucks are the problem. But that's a different show. That's a different topic. This whole storyline, it's a missed opportunity. They suspended Jack Perry months ago. They fired CM Punk months ago. They should have acted on it then. They should have. The FTR, CM Punk versus the Elite, Kenny Omega and the Bucks, that was your money match. That you asked the question to start the show. How could you get people to watch AEW? How could you make it the Monday Night Wars again? How could you make it exciting for both sides? That was it. And
100%.
they missed their opportunity because you know what? Everybody would have watched CM Punk and FTR versus Kenny Omega and the Bucks. Everybody would have paid for that pay-per-view. That would have been the number one pay-per-view in AEW history by far. But the Young Bucks canceled meetings left and right. They didn't want to make up. They didn't want to talk to CM Punk. They wanted to play with their friends, Christopher Daniels, Jack Perry. You notice how they wrestle the same people. 5 years of AEW, they only wrestle the same people. They never venture out of their little circle group. Dark Order, FTR, although FTR is associated with CM Punk, but at least they play ball. The Lucha Bros. It's always the same people no matter what. They never venture out because they're indie-minded. They don't know what it's like to be in the big leagues, and they're all learning together. They're all learning. See them, when three young people in the business, as Josh just said in the chat, he's a good matchmaker, learning how to book. When you're learning how to book with people who don't know how to book, and you're not willing to take advice from somebody else, that's a problem, and you're not going to grow. You're going to run out of matches.
You're 100%. And first off, Josh Mabry, host of Ruckus Wrestling Podcast on the Ruckus channel, Ruckus Network, Sports Network, I believe. Hopefully I'm not butchering that, Josh. Correct me if I'm wrong. Great dude. I actually work with him. Look, no doubt. First off, Tony has probably made, right, obviously WWE is very talented, but, a lot of the wrestlers that people always dreamed about coming over to WWE and Japan and New Japan and everywhere else, Tony got to come to AEW. You can think of Real Ospreay and all those other guys. They're in AEW. The matches are going to be good. Everybody and their mother, and Josh is one of them. He said it last week. If you want to see those dream matches, if you want to see some 4 to 5 star matches, you watch AEW. Of course, he's going to be a good matchmaker because how could you go wrong? You just say, hey, you're going to face you're facing Bryan Danielson today. Oh, how did we get to that? Oh, we're just throwing it on. Let's do it. It's not we're just going to throw that on the card. Oh, okay. They they tear the house down. But it's like, okay, but how did we get there? Yeah, he's very good throwing it together. Crap, I think, Josh, if you and I were there, we'd probably be damn good matchmakers. But what is a booker? It's building that story. How did Will Ospreay, did the Dragon, Bryan Danielson, have something with Will Ospreay back in Japan, and you build it slowly up, and you make this mega match. WCW did this a lot. You had a lot of great pay-per-view type matches on Nitro week after week. Dream matches that you were like, man, that should be on Halloween Havoc or Starrcade or Bash at the Beach. You had it on Monday Nitro. Goldberg, undefeated Hulk Hogan, Hollywood Hulk Hogan, the villain of the rest of the wrestling world, took over WCW, the scum of the earth. Monday Nitro. What? That's what eventually killed them. It's like you could have killed it on pay-per-view. I know you wanted the Monday Night Wars, but pay-per-views mattered, and stories matter. You can't just throw to the wall. That's what WWE is getting right now. I mean, there's always something going on. It's like a little seed that they plant, and all of a sudden it starts to build up, and then you get the 5-star to 4-star match at whatever pay-per-view they're doing.
They're doing that right now on King of the Ring because we could have easily had a banger in Gunther and Dragunov, easily 5-star match on Raw, but 100%. They decided that's a pay-per-view match. It's a bigger match. We need a bigger story. We already had it in NXT UK. We already had that monster match. Let's recreate it on the main roster, but let's not do it on Monday night in Albuquerque or wherever they're going to be next week. I have no idea where they're going to be. Why do that match there? Make it a story. Gunther and Dragunov, do not burn it. And on the women's side, Bianca Jade. Why would we have this match on SmackDown? A tape match because they're not going to go live. That's a tape match. So we're going to know we're going to know the results because of the pre-tape. If you want to go look up spoilers, you can, right? Or maybe you can't there. I have no idea. But my point is, they're not burning these matches. Bro, if I watch AEW on a random night, I'm like, oh, Samoa Joe and Swerve for the title on Dynamite. It's their first match ever. Cool. Like, that didn't happen, but I'm just throwing examples out there. This is a good example. The Young Bucks, the Elite, Okada, they're facing in a Anarchy in the Arena match versus Team AEW, a team thrown together in a Anarchy in the Arena match. That should be the last match, the blow-off match, the match that decides it all. The winner takes over AEW, right, or whatever. That's the first match. He books backwards. Malachi Black and Adam Copeland, their first match is a barbed wire steel cage match for the title. Their first match. There's been no normal match. There's been some lead up, and the lead up's been good. But he throws things, and there's a history of this where he throws in the biggest match you could possibly have first, and then he works his way backwards. It's just not, to me, it's like he's a child who wants to get to the dessert first. He doesn't want to get through the broccoli. He doesn't want to get through the starches. He doesn't want to get through the chicken. He wants that chocolate sundae. And the chocolate sundae is the blow off. And he just right away, no matter what. It does I can't figure it out. I cannot figure it out. Why are we having it? I don't care. I can't. Bobby, can you tell me who's the team AEW? Can you tell me who's at team AEW? I can because I watch the show.
I don't. I think it's Bryan Danielson because I heard it.
But he's
JD
New
York
with Don Callis though. Yeah, he's following. He's battling with the Don Callis people. Why is he involved with this?
That's what they were saying. Yeah, I don't know.
But as a viewer, I'm thinking
it doesn't make sense.
I don't understand why he's in two feuds. I don't understand what. Just like other people, like other podcasters have said, 3-4 weeks ago, this dude was paralyzed in the ring. We thought. Convulsing because he got Tiger Drive 95 by Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay said this huge thing. I'm not going to use this move anymore. It's too dangerous. But they decided, no story. Brian, go fight for Team AEW.
That's the problem. That's the difference. Right? What you just said, no story. That's the difference. And that's why, quote unquote, the casual fan or someone like myself who it was always leaning more WWE. Of course, when AEW was a thing and with Cody Rhodes and Chris Jericho and so forth, they got TNT. You're thinking, oh my gosh, it's the second coming of WCW. I've been waiting for this my whole life since WCW shut down. And then you watch it and then you see what's happening and you're just like, I don't want to just see all these random matches. These are fun, but where's the story going? When they put Jericho as the champion, that was the smartest thing because Jericho is a great character. And he learned under the tree of McMahon and company on how to be. And I'm not saying Jericho would learn anything further. He was like that in WCW, but it's smart. You do that. He's the heel champion. You go what? But then you kind of see how they're going. And again, they use all these storylines. Again, they missed all those opportunities on these storylines with all the background noise. And you brought it up. The Young Bucks avoiding meetings, not trying to work. They could have said, "Hey, you know what? Let's meet. Okay, I don't like you. You don't like me, but let's go make some money. Let's go do this." Because guess what? That would have turned the tide. That would have got the casual fan or whatever you want to call it to come over and say, I'm going to watch this because I want to. This is real. That's why everybody was interested in Edge versus Matt Hardy. And I go back to that because that was the most real. You think of anything, or eventually CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. You're going to want to watch that match.
Or Drew. They don't like
or Drew McIntyre, who's been McIntyre's out, or CM Punk's been out for a while now. McIntyre and him are still keeping that rivalry alive. McIntyre is doing his best work out of the ring since he's ever started. You're more invested in him outside the ring than you are in the ring. It's just like The Rock. The Rock, we know his history. You asked me last week, who's the biggest heel in wrestling right now? It's The Rock. McIntyre's right there, even though I think people love McIntyre. They're not booing him. But The Rock, what he's been able to do outside the ring to make you give a damn about once he comes back, you're going to want to see him get his ass kicked when he goes against Cody and so forth. That's what's missing in AEW. I was watching some of AEW, and I see the Young Bucks backstage, and they got their suits on, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, none of this is making me go, this is cool. I want to keep watching. It's like, okay, click, put something else on.
Yep.
That's what's missing.
They're just goofy. They're goofballs. They're acting like somebody would act in a movie as he like, hey, we're casting these guys to be heels. act like a bad guy wrestler. They're not acting like heels. They're acting like a character of a heel. It's I don't buy their gimmick whatsoever. I do not buy them being the elite and them controlling the whole show. It's just they missed the mark on this one, in my opinion. It's in like I said, the ratings do not lie. And to put this above Swerve and the way he self-made himself the world champion as the fans wanted him, and to make him look like a complete moron week after week after week, we need the Swerve back what he was before. They don't know how to book baby faces. Raw and SmackDown, WWE, they don't know how to book baby faces, by the way, either. Cody's been miserable since the win.
Baby faces are hard. That's hard to keep. I mean,
but the thing is, though, Bobby, if you left Swerve the way he was the biggest baby face in the company, acting like the way he was. Keep him acting that way and let him get the rise. I am the bad, like Razor Ramon. Everyone knew he's the bad guy. But we all cheered him because it's Razor Ramon. He's the bad guy.
Yeah.
Swerve could have been like that character of, I'm going to do these things. I'm sadistic, but we're still going to root for him because that's our guy. This is what we wanted. He wins the title. Now he's this ultra baby face. He's boring. That's the problem. People get too invested in who's a baby face, who's a heel. You just mentioned boxing in the pre-show. Yes, we root for Fury or we root for the other guy, but end of the day, they're just fighters. Let the fans choose who's the baby face, and that's what we did with Swerve. Keep him. We cheered for the Swerve that we had when he was a heel. We cheered for him because we wanted him to win. Keep that same attitude. Keep that same energy. Not this new crap. Cody was always like that. Cody, his babyface run, corny as hell from the start, corny as hell now. He didn't change. Swerve changed within weeks, and I don't buy that. You don't go in from smashing Nick Wayne to death and threatening a baby to cheery, happy face guy in 2 weeks. It just doesn't happen. It's unrealistic.
That's awesome. Kicking a baby? Did you say kicking a baby?
No, he killed Nick Wayne in the wrestling school, and then he went to Adam Page's house and broke in and made fun of a baby. I don't know how. He went to Adam Page's house. Apparently, his wife wasn't home, but the baby was sleeping in the crib, and he was running a promo on the baby and threw a shirt at the kid.
Oh crap! That's awesome, man. All right, let's get this ball rolling. Let's talk WWE. And again, I know there was a lot of things that went down here. McIntyre kicked it off, had a back and forth with Damian Priest. Kind of looks like they may be going that route at Clash at the Castle, or right? Is that Clash at the Castle? And wherever the hell they do it. But anyway, I'm excited to see that. Those guys have really got a good rub lately. What did you think of that first start, the start of Raw with Drew McIntyre?
You said it. You stole the words out of my mouth. I wrote Raw thoughts. Drew McIntyre continues to shine, and he's the best heel in the business today. And he is. His promos are awesome. The way he's speaking, the way he's cutting people down, I always love a heel that doesn't take responsibility. The coward heel, this is all your fault. This is not my fault. Yada, yada, yada. I love those heels. Those are my favorite. But he also has the muscles in the body to back it up because he can also get sadistic.
He's become the total package, literally. Yep. Mm-hmm. Overall character outside the ring, character in the ring, the physique. He is like, VKM, Vincent Kennedy McMahon, said he was the chosen one at one point. I love that little thing that CM Punk threw out. Who said that? Who's the one who said, And McIntyre was like, oh, you got me. All right.
We don't talk about him no more.
We don't do that. Don't do it. But it's like, you kind of see like, okay, he got it. He hit on one there. He did. But Drew McIntyre is that total package of a professional wrestler, WWE superstar, whatever you want to call him.
So this is leading to, I think, Drew winning the title, I believe. Yep. It sucks for Priest, but Priest isn't doing it for me. I like Priest, but I don't think he's world championship material just yet. I feel like they're going to need a bump of a Drew McIntyre and CM Punk leading into Netflix. Because I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm not a Netflix subscriber. I haven't had Netflix since they had the discs. Since they changed the ratings. By the way, this is a whole tangent. There used to be a really good rating system on Netflix, and they changed it, and the thumbs up, thumbs down. They used to be 1-star, 2-star, 3-star. That's when I canceled. So y'all mess with my ratings. You're messing with my algorithm. You're pushing out these products I don't want. I'm out. I haven't had Netflix in 4 years. Now I'm thinking, gosh, do I need to cut a subscription to go buy Netflix now? And Damian Priest says your world champion isn't going to get me to buy Netflix. That's just the facts of life. Someone like a Drew McIntyre in that feud with CM Punk will make me want to buy Netflix because I want to watch it. They've been building up this story since before WrestleMania, since the Royal Rumble, really. And it's going to be a big payoff when we finally get CM Punk and Drew McIntyre in the ring, and it needs to be for the title. And
yeah, this is not a story. Does the storyline, does that story need a title or that match? No, because the story it carries itself. But no, the title needs to be involved in that match. It has to mean extra because McIntyre, as like Damian Priest, I'm a huge fan of Damian Priest. I like that he's the champion, but he kind of seems like his story doesn't need the title right now. He needs to carry on that feud, like get that feud rolling with Finn Balor and roll it out. And hopefully we don't see the Demon King. I don't want to see that crap. Don't do it. Don't bring it. Leave it at the door. Put it. Bury it.
Bring it all. Full send.
Bury it. Bury it. Bury it. My brother called me this week. How can you say that? You watched the show. How can you say that? And he started going a whole tangent. My brother. So he gave me a good. He gave me a good idea for a topic. Push and bury. And I said, oh, I got to talk to Josh about this. And I'm talking it on air. Should do it off air. But still, he's like, pick a star to push, like which one you would push, who like is not getting that push, and then get a guy who you would bury. And he's like, I'd bury Kevin Owens. I'd push Finn Balor. And he's like, Kevin Owens is not believable. You know, he started going this whole tangent. Oh, dude,
if you're watching right now, yeah. Kevin Owens is one of the best guys you got, and he's believable.
Dude, he was hilarious. He always does that. Let's list the top 5 people, and then like he gives his thing. I don't say nothing. I'll start giving my 5, and then he starts going off on me. I'm like, dude, you just asked me, you know. But anywho, we were just talking about that. But you know, Priest I think doesn't need the title to do his feud. That's gonna carry him. That feud with Finn Balor. He's gonna become a babyface. He's gonna be a badass babyface. He's gonna be a babyface that a lot of fans want to cheer for because it's kind of going that route. But McIntyre, he doesn't need the title to make him who he is, but he can make that title even more legitimate. Not that Seth Rollins didn't do that, but maybe better than Seth Rollins because of the type of heel and the type of character he is right now. And you know he's going to be holding on that. He reminds me a little bit of at least the character, especially when he has that title, if and when he gets it. Triple H Evolution Triple H. That, you know, Triple H, he did everything in his power to keep that title and whatever. But this is going to be more dangerous. This is a dangerous Drew McIntyre. And then CM Punk's to be the perfect foil to his thing. And if these two can trade him off, you know, maybe win here, lose here, win, and just kind of have like a 3-match trilogy of epic matches, that title would be perfect because it's only going to make that title so much bigger than what it is right now. Because I don't think anybody takes that title serious right now. I love it. I wish they brought back the actual World Heavyweight Championship. That's my favorite championship in wrestling. The World Heavyweight Championship, WCW, big gold. You know, I got my dad, you know, was like, what belt do you actually want? I remember when I was a little kid, I was like, I want that one. And it was way too big for it. It was like that big on my thing. I should have got a, you know, but I wish they brought it. But this one's, I guess, the next best thing. And it doesn't look bad, but it doesn't mean as much as the undisputed title at all. You know, they need to make that mean something. And I think Drew McIntyre and a CM Punk feud will do that.
Yeah, I do. And I do think Drew needs to go over and stay over. I don't think CM Punk needs the title at all. I could see Seth Rollins coming back and taking it from Drew and then kicking off Drew or Seth versus CM Punk at WrestleMania, because that was the match that was supposed to happen, and they could revisit that. And if Seth takes that back from Drew, sets up CM Punk, that's where CM Punk can finally win the title. I would just hate the fact to see Drew win it and then lose it immediately to CM Punk. Immediately, that wouldn't be cool. We need that heel run with the title, because baby faces with titles, I will say it here every single week, it's not fun. When babyface has the title, it's not fun. I cannot stand it when they're the champions, unless they're like Steve Austin or someone fun,
an anti-hero, someone who is like kind of anti-establishment, whatever. Like CM Punk, he can't be, which he's not. You know, I don't think he is. I mean, he kind of teeters on that right now, but really, if he's that anti-establishment, smart ass, fans love him, and he goes against the bad guys, but again, at the same time, the good guys don't even like him. You could do that, But I agree. I think that it's very hard for a traditional baby face to be the champion carry. You have to have him as the chaser, have the win, big win, and then 2 or 3, like what they're doing with Cody right now. They fed him Logan Paul. They're feeding him Logan Paul. We know he's not going to lose to Logan Paul. What did they do? We talked about this last week. It was supposed to be title versus title on the line. You're like, I don't like that. They changed it. They found a way. They found a loophole. They had both titles on the table there, and they did it. And I'm like, okay, now we know for sure who's winning that match. And he, again, what do you think? He's going to lose it to The Rock or whomever eventually, right? At SummerSlam or whatever. They're holding it off. So, and then The Rock, imagine The Rock as the champion, the type of character he is. People are going to hate him with the belt. That's going to make people want to watch, because every time it's the same thing with Roman Reigns. Everybody tuned in. You may have hated Roman Reigns every SmackDown that he was on with that title. You're like, he needs to lose it to Cody. He needs to lose. But you watched every pay-per-view or premium PLE that he was fighting because you were waiting for him to drop it, and then he'd keep it. And then you're like, oh, I'm done. But you watched it again. And then you were there, one of those record-breaking subscribers, to watch Cody beat him finally. And then probably the same person who was complaining online are the same people saying, we want Roman on SmackDown 3 weeks later because he hasn't showed up. That's what heels do. That's what the successful ones do. Drew could be that. And I'm with you, though. He can't lose right away. He has to get that win. Maybe if it's a trilogy, you go, 2-1. Win the first 2, drop the last one to CM Punk, let CM Punk roll out and kind of be that anti-champion. And then whoever else can pick it up from there, a guy who has never won it, beats somebody like CM Punk and builds his name up. Gunther, maybe, is one of those. Io Sky defeated Baszler in the Queen of the Ring tournament. I like that match. I thought that was the best match I've ever seen Baszler wrestle. Honestly, I don't know if I missed one, but every time I've watched her, I've changed the channel or looked away. That was an entertaining match. Io Sky is doing really well. She kind of carried it, but it was a fun match. What did you think?
It's one of those matches you knew Io Sky was going to win, but you're right. The new administration is letting them do their work. Shayna wrestled very well in NXT. She came on the main roster, was a monster. Remember that Elimination Chamber match where she eliminated every single person and she dominated everybody? That's the way Triple H wanted to book her in NXT, and he did. They brought her on the main roster. She didn't translate because she was boring. She couldn't cut her promo. It's just the fans didn't get her gimmick, the main people, the casuals, the main roster family. But now that we have Triple H here, maybe we can build her as a monster again, a heel, get her away from this tag team nonsense that she was been in for a while. It's been awful. And let Io Sky do her thing. It was weird. Io Sky was the babyface here. They're both heels. They're both heels in their own rights. One's in Damage Control, obviously a heel faction. And Shayna has never been babyface in her life. Not that I can think of. So those matches are weird for me to evaluate. Like who's going to take the babyface role? Who's going to take the heel? Io Sky's got to win this thing, right? Like, I don't see anyone else.
I can't believe I'm forgetting her name right now, but no, I think Io Sky is obviously the favorite, but it's the one that's Becky Lynch's best friend, apparently. What's her name? Oh my goodness.
Let me say this to everyone watching.
Valkyra, Lara Valkyra.
I
think she could be, because they seem like they're I'll let you go on your tirade. But
there's no tirade.
Okay, I was just gonna say they are really pushing her. They are trying to make her look strong. She is running out of the ring. She's fighting. She's lovey-dovey. She's I think that could be your wild card Queen of the Ring right there. Should be Io Sky. It makes a lot of sense. She's the favorite, but I think that's the wild card.
We're gonna get to SmackDown, but there's other people that on that side as well. So that's a stronger bracket. That's a better bracket.
It is for sure. But Bianca Belair doesn't need it. She doesn't need to be Queen of the Ring. I think it'll look good. Nia could use it.
Yeah,
that's fair.
But I truly believe Io Sky is going to win. But who's she going to go against? I don't know. I don't like the brackets. I don't like Raw versus SmackDown. I don't like how it's. I wish one year, hear me out, guys, and this might be complicated. One year Raw has the men's, SmackDown has the women's. The next year they alternate. Then Raw will get the women's because you can't really build a story because you're going into 2 matches at Saudi, 2 matches at King Queen with no heat. They're just trying to win the King of the Ring title, which is fine. That's what it's for. But again, no, they're never going to interact again. They're not going to interrupt to build the match.
You're right. And we just talked about this with AEW, but here's the difference. And I know we're jumping SmackDown. I just want to use SmackDown as an example here. We know that if Nia Jax ends up winning it, she's going to probably go against Io Sky or Valkyria or whatever. And like you said, it's going to be a one-off. They're never going to interact again. But you saw how Jade Cargill.
Jade Cargill.
Fix it up for me because I'm always butchering names. What happened with that finish with Nia Jax? It planted a seed that storyline is going to continue. It is this, and what happened with Gunther and Dragunov on Monday night. They're not going to wrestle in the next week, but it planted a seed that it's building stories from this tournament. That final match, it's going to be fun because we're just going to see 2 people who we won't see on a regular basis go at it. It's going to end, but at the end, now is it Corgirl who's going to interfere with Nia Jax? Will she cost her the Queen of the Ring? That's the thing. That's the difference too. They're building stories to get to that point. This point means it means that you're going to get the crown, whoever gets it. But it's still, even though you're right, in a normal world, we're not getting this story. Why is this even happening? It should stay on SmackDown because it's going to mean something later. But again, what I love what WWE is doing right now and Triple H is they're building stories within this tournament. So that way, once the tournament's over, you could go off and run over here with these stories. That's the only difference. Great point. And I was thinking the same thing, but when I saw what happened with Nia and Kate, it just like, okay, this makes sense. This makes sense.
It does make sense. But overall, back on Raw, my overall last thoughts are good wrestling. It feels like a fresh show. It feels like a brand new show. I'm not seeing comedy skits or I'm not seeing, trash can matches with the New Day and Viking Experience. That was the disaster. Like we're seeing real wrestling on Raw, and it's a show that needs it desperately because it's a 3-hour show. Now, if you've watched me for a long time on the other show I used to count, and I did this before it was cool and before people did it. I used to count wrestling minutes per show. Raw would get like 12 minutes of wrestling in 3 hours. Dynamite would get 12 minutes in the first match. And I would just like, okay, noted. Raw used to be WWE Speed on Twitter. That was Raw. Raw was speed. Roll-ups, 1 minute match. Now we're seeing these great matches, TV matches that are going to make me stay throughout the commercial break to see the rest of the match. Whereas back in the day, I would go, oh, Bobby, I didn't watch Io Sky versus whoever because it's a 2-minute match and it ends in a roll-up. It means nothing in the end of the day. But now we're seeing meaningful matches on Raw, which is, like I said, needed in the worst way.
It's a great point, man. And we'll move on. We know Gunther won. He beat, and then, Jey Uso ends up beating Dragunov, which I think we both agree was the right decision, just because you don't want to have Gunther versus Dragunov now or coming up. That's the pay-per-view. That's an entertaining match, and there's a story in there that you could build off of. Zoe Stark lost to Valkyria. We just brought this up. They seem to be pushing Valkyria. I don't know if they're playing on forming a tag team between Valkyria and Becky Lynch, but they're really pushing that relationship. Sami Zayn versus Otis. I found that interesting. And I do have a complaint on this. Sorry, I love the Chad Gable. I love what they're doing with him. Love his character. I'm a huge fan of those type of heels. We know he could carry himself. We know he's a badass. We know he's a fun. He's the Walmart version of Kurt Angle right now, and it's cool. And he's playing that heel where it's like, I'm better than you. I'm gonna smack you around. He did that to Otis, and Otis kind of took off the thing. He was like looking like Otis was gonna go after him, and Otis kind of just walked to the back. I hate that. Like, that's been done before. Otis, you're a big ass dude. Beat the hell out of him. That would skyrocket Otis, but it also would make him Chad a bigger heel. I think it's not going to kill his character. it's gonna make him a bigger heel. I wasn't a big fan of the match, Sane versus Otis. I thought it was okay. Otis is fun to watch, but it was just obviously you're distracted by the Chad Cable situation. And again, I didn't like the ending where he smacks him around, gets mad at him, and then walks away. And Otis just kind of looks at the audience and goes, "Oh well." I walks away. It's like, what? Are you kidding me, bro? Like, what are you doing? Like, why are we still doing this? Why this is a flushed out story. They've done this before, not with Otis and company, but with other characters. So just that match alone, what did you think? And are you with me on the Otis Chad Gable?
Yeah, but we have to save Otis for the beatdown that's coming, the inevitable beatdown with the Creed brothers.
True.
When they come in and they're going to beat down Otis and Tozawa. I don't know if Tozawa's still with him to be complete. He's an afterthought at this point. I think he still is, right?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he is. So I feel like they're going to come down and beat them down very soon, like very, very soon, because we saw Chad Gable pumping up Ivy Niles, and she's part of that. So she will be part of the group as well. I didn't think she would. It looks like with that interaction that Chad Gable had with her, that she will be joining the team. That was a little Easter egg for you guys if you weren't paying attention.
Yeah,
that's why they had the interaction right there. Yeah. So I don't know if they come in and the Creeds help them beat Sami Zayn, or if the Creeds come in Monday night after Chad Gable loses. Like, I'm tired of this losing. It's time to make a change, and that's when we see the Creed brothers come in and just put the boots to Otis. It's future endeavor Otis now. Like, we'll never see him again. That's what's going to happen. Creed brothers will come in. So I'm not really worried about the Otis situation, Bobby, because I think in about 3 weeks he's going to be an afterthought and he's going to be on speed. Sorry. That's just the way it's going to be.
Yeah, so he has a lot of potential, dude. I really think.
I'm not an Otis guy, dude.
Really not. I think it's just the way he's been, because I think he could be.
He could.
That, back, was it not Liv Morgan? Who am I thinking of here?
Mandy Rose situation. I couldn't stand that. I couldn't stand.
Yeah, I mean, it just went a whole other direction. But I think they, not with that situation, but just the way he works in the ring and everything, they could have done something with him. But I get it. It's what it is.
He's a comedy character. He has charisma. He's a comedy character.
He's a McMahon guy.
Yep.
Right? I mean, that's fair to say. Becky Lynch defeated Dakota Kai in a disqualification. It was an okay match, fun match. But I do want to talk about very quick, and we'll move right on, is the first off, we know Braun Strowman's a beast. There was one time he was red hot. I can't take him seriously anymore. I saw JD McDonough say something to him and kind of like, don't get in the way of the Judgment Day or something. And, he kind of laughed it off, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, I don't care. Like, I'm not invested. They kind of wasted that return. It's kind of a rare L, in my opinion, with the current WWE with Braun. I think they could have done something to make him look stronger, kind of bring him back to that monster, quote unquote, monster moment, or paired him with the upcoming Uncle Howdy. You could have done something with that, but they're not. Apparently, he's not a part of that upcoming group. What's your thoughts? I was asking you about Becky, but we'll just finish it raw with this. What are your thoughts on Braun Strowman currently and what they might be doing with the Judgment Day and him?
Botch, man. Botch. Huge botch. He needs to be a heel.
Yeah.
He doesn't work as a baby face. I'll never forget that one night, and it was a long time ago, but The Miz was having a baby, and Braun Strowman's on the Titantron. I'm going to smash this guy. But first, I just want to say congratulations, Miz, on having a baby. But I'm going to smash this guy. I'm like, that's when I was like, okay, this guy's done. This guy's the worst. Do you remember this?
Oh, God.
And then
it's hilarious.
Then he went on this whole Twitter parade of him going, oh, these little flippy guys, blah, 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 blah. And then they punished him by putting him with Ricochet, and they were the Bald brothers. Like, all of this. He was awesome with the Roman Reigns. He peaked with Roman Reigns.
Yes, he did. Yep.
And then ever since, they had no idea how to book
him. And Brock Lesnar, every time they would get in a ring together, Brock would suplex him and he'd jump right back. Like, you were like, that's a real deal, dude. Like, you don't want to mess. And now it's like to a point where it's like, okay.
But Bobby, you got to understand this, and a lot of people do, and I'm still trying to understand this. You look at Raw, and you look at SmackDown, you look at the state of WWE at right now in this moment on May 18th, 2024. You look at the state of WWE, and you can just name Roman Reigns, Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, Sami Zayn, you can go down the list. It's just like anyone else or any other roster or any other job. At some point, you go down the list and you're like, oh, that guy's 30th on our list. he's really good, but he's not good enough to get up on the top. Like, he's just not there to be a top guy. He can't hang with the Cody Rhodes or with the Roman Reigns or with the Rocks or even with Jey Uso at this point. So they're trying to find a space for him, and I understand that.
Yeah.
Are they gonna put him back with a tag team? Are they gonna make him a lovable monster like the Big Show was? Are they gonna make him a heel? I think they're trying to feel out, engage what we want, how we react to Braun. And I have faith that Triple H will make the right move and put him in a spot where he works. And I do believe that they're just feeling him out right now. He's just being brought in. You know, he left as a baby face. He can't come back as a heel. That's illogical, right? We could be going, wait, he left as a tag team partner with Ricochet. Why is he coming back as a massive, that'd be a Vince McMahon booking style with no explanation. So I feel like they got to ease him in. That's all. And I think he'll do fine and he'll serve his purpose.
Okay. I think that's fair. Patience. You're asking for patience.
Listen, I'm not all negative over here, right? I have my gripes, but I'm willing to wait on a couple things, and he's one of them.
That's fair. All right. I'm with you. I'll work with you on that one. All right, let's move on to SmackDown, okay? And I don't know what it is. I don't know why WWE. I mean, obviously, since it's their baby, they kind of built Raw first, and then SmackDown came later. But they always said Raw's the A show, SmackDown's the B show. But there's so many times where always really SmackDown felt like the A show. They had the wrestling, it had the story. I mean, I remember when they first split the brands. You had The Rock, you had Hogan on SmackDown with McMahon, and then it came, of course, John Cena, JBL, et cetera, Kurt Angle, Big Show. It was always more entertaining on SmackDown for me than it ever was on Raw. SmackDown this week was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. First off, Tama Tonga, I don't know where, first off, the new Bloodline is what it is. It's the dollar store version of the original Bloodline. We know that. I'm glad Paul Heyman's still there. I like that, he's talked to Roman every week. That comes off as BS that Solo is talking to him. I'm waiting for the payoff. Tama Tonga, he that whole, did you see what he did backstage when they came back and he's like, he starts doing these weird sounds,
weird noises for no reason. He's a psychopath.
It's like, and he goes, let's go. He goes, yeet. Like, wait, what? Like, what are you doing, bro? It's like, but he gets you focused on him. You get entertained by him. LA Knight, again, his little back behind the stage where Carmelo Hayes, that was a lot of fun. He had a good match there. Overall, what did you think of SmackDown this week?
Again, SmackDown, incredible show for their standards. For my standards on SmackDown, I'm going to touch on the A show, B show situation. The A show is whoever's paying. The A show is whatever network is paying more for that show. And the A show has been SmackDown since it's been on Fox because it's on Fox, and they were getting paid more, and that's where Roman was and where the story was. Raw will be taking over the A show once they get on Netflix. Trust me on that one. My thoughts, though, are I'm glad Logan Paul and Cody is not title versus title because you're booking yourself into a corner. What do you do with that United States Championship after Cody wins it? So I'm glad that they thought about something. They actually thought. They're like, okay, how do we make this non-title versus non-title or whatever? All right, here's the explanation. Boom, I bought it. You bought it. We're happy. Also, in that whole Push Barry segment that your brother made up, Tiffany Stratton. She is.
I was just going to talk about it.
She is the best thing I saw on SmackDown because she gets it. She's great in the ring. I think she is the now, not the future. She's the now. And people are like, she should win King of the Ring. She should do this. She should be champion. Again, let's let her build. Let's let her get some feuds in. Let's let her get some matches won before we throw her into that main event step. But she'll be there by the end of the year. She might win Money in the Bank. She might win Royal Rumble. I predict she'll win one of those. I think she will win either Money in the Bank or Royal Rumble.
She makes, first off, it's not hard to make Belair look good. Belair is a great professional wrestler. She's fun. She's convincing. She's one of the best sellers. Absolutely. When she's with the knee injury or whatever, she makes it look like she's really hurt. But Stratton is it was my son who introduced me to Stratton. We were playing WWE 2K, and they watch NXT, And he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna be Tiffany Stratton." And we were playing the women's match. I was like, "Who's that?" I thought it was like they're like Trish Stratus sucks. I was like, I was Trish Stratus. Like, you guys don't know better. You guys are, Trish Stratus is legit. And then he was Stratton. And then, but when I first saw her, and I'm watching her now, I mean, the women's division has never been better than what it is right now. It is so damn good. So damn good. And you got Rhea Ripley eventually going to come back. You got the GOAT Charlotte is about to come back.
Stop.
Do not do it.
We saw the GOAT. The GOAT's up, by the way, guys. The GOAT's on Wednesday nights. And she proved it this week. She did pretty good. We'll get there later.
Oh, man. Anyway, dude, whatever. Women's division has not been better. Women's wrestling has not been better.
You think Charlotte was at the pizza place? You think Charlotte was getting pizza pie with her father when he went nuts on this guy?
I don't think so.
You think Andrade was there, like in the car, like, "Come on, Pops"?
Poor Rick. Yeah, poor Rick. Rick. He's so out. I mean, Rick says, I was watching that a couple weeks back, and Rick says, he's like, "Wait for social media tomorrow, watch what happens." I'm like, to you, it's not to them. Okay, it's gonna happen to you, Rick. Go away. Go get the car, Rick. Get in the car. Damn it. Pull off, Charlotte. We need to get out of here. No, but Stratton has been really good. I'm just excited to continuing to see what they do here. Make sure here they're gonna have Randy Orton versus Tama Tonga. They both won. Yes. Hayes and Randy Orton had a very good match. Obviously, the ending, typical Orton with those type of wrestlers. He did it with Seth Rollins. He's done it with forgetting the guy's name. He did it with Hayes. Bounce off the ropes. Kaboom. Awesome win. But I just love what Randy Orton did. First off, I would be just like Randy. Who the hell are you guys? This is not the original Bloodline. This is not the Usos. This is not Roman Reigns. What the hell are you coming out here trying to First of all, Solo, again, which is a big error on their part. You haven't won a match since John Cena. John Cena put you through a table at WrestleMania. I am not worried about what you but to go out, he goes, "You're trying to intimidate me? Do you know who the hell I am? I'm Randy Orton. I'm a 14-time world heavyweight champion. Get out of here." I love the way they finished SmackDown, and I'm looking forward to that match. I am, though, really wondering how it's going to play out. You talked about the tournament on SmackDown side. I was like, does Tonga beat Randy Orton, who's really on a high right now? There has to be bloodline interference. Okay. Bloodline has to interfere at this,
I'm glad you asked this, because I've been thinking about this all day. Because I was thinking about things for the show when I was walking my 15 miles of Busch Gardens today, navigating the Serengeti. I was thinking about Randy Orton and this whole situation. I'm thinking about the Saudi Arabia and why are we getting Logan Paul versus Cody, because that's what they want. Why are we getting the majority of matches? Undertaker coming back. Why do we get the majority of matches we get in Saudi Arabia? Because that's what they request. That's what they buy.
Mm-hmm.
They pretty much make the card. Now, storyline has to be involved or make sense. So I'm sitting there like, okay, Jey Uso versus Tonga would be Bloodline versus Bloodline. Get that story rolling. But do the Saudis really give an F about that? Would they want that match? Which makes sense storyline-wise. We can get Jey Uso back in the Bloodline just slowly. Maybe Tonga wins. Jay's a little bitter about it. That's how they get him back when Roman, whatever. Or do you say, hey, we're Saudi Arabia. We're not having a show without Gunther. We're not having a show without Orton. We're doing the biggest match possible, which is Gunther versus Randy Orton. That's right there, the biggest match you could have. That's a Saudi Arabia type match. They put on, big matches over there. They don't do these secondary shows. It just doesn't, storyline-wise, you're supposed to do Jay versus Tonga. Saudi-wise, it's going to be Gunther versus Orton. It has
That's a great point, dude. Because first off, the Tonga Jay, let's go right there for a second. I'm glad you thought about this all day, because you just hit the hammer home. The home run there is, first of all, Jay versus Tonga makes a lot of sense, because like you said, this would be a perfect time for someone like Jimmy to come back, help his brother win, whatever. But as you said, first off, does Jay really need the crown? Does Tonga need the crown? No, Tonga doesn't need the crown. He doesn't deserve the crown. No offense to him. And Jay doesn't need it. Jay is red freaking hot. He is right there. He is on the cusp to really surpassing the story and just going on. Really, he's on his own. Anyway, Randy Orton versus Gunther. First of all, that's the biggest money draw right there, right? And like you said, one hell of a match. Randy Orton it would make it doesn't look bad for Orton to drop to lose against a Gunther, and Gunther really deserves the crown. King Gunther needs to freaking happen. I mean, he needs to be, and that's what they're going to put him the marathon champion, right? He's going to probably win every belt and whatever. They're going to do it all for him because Triple H is slowly but surely building him up to be the big thing. And obviously, yeah, I don't know. I think what you just said makes a lot of sense. If it was me, I'm going the Gunther Randy Orton route. I want to see that, and you give it to Gunther. He wins King of the Ring, and King Gunther terrorizing through WWE and making the King of the Ring mean something again, because it really did not for a while. It hasn't meant. Back then, when you won the King of the Ring back in the day, you were the next big thing. You were the one that you won the Intercontinental title usually, and then you win the WWE title, and now when you win, it's kind of like, yeah, okay, it's like Money in the Bank now, kind of random, it's where they kind of just ran it. Hell in a Cell doesn't mean anything anymore because it's on every freaking paper, it's at a pay-per-view, or they have 5 Hell in a Cell. That's like, I love, that's right. I heard that recently, and it was like, it's so true. Matches need to mean something. Fall Brawl War Games used to mean something back, and it does. I love War Games just because, first off, nostalgia, but it's like you do one, and you make it mean something. You have a story building. Hell in a Cell. It's Hell in a Cell. You're not jumping off the cage anymore. You're not busted open. So why do 20 in one match, or exaggerating? Why do 5 matches in a pay-per-view Hell in a Cell? No, make it one-on-one Hell in a Cell, and you make it 2 of the guys that hate each other the most. So that way we're invested in it, know. But this here, for this match, for this type of thing there, and what's going to be the bigger payoff is Gunther versus Randy Orton, and Gunther going over. I wouldn't hate Randy Orton winning it. I mean, but it's like, you don't need it. It's Gunther.
Randy Orton loses because of the bloodline. Simple. It's Jacob Fatu. I said it on Real Talk Wrestling. I'll say it here. Every single time we see a new addition to the bloodline, it's always a Samoan in a hoodie. Why can't we get another Samoan in a hoodie? And this time it's Jacob Fatu, and this is how we get the introduction, which peaks this Randy Orton versus bloodline feud that we desperately need to get better, because I wish it was a little bit better. It feels mid to me. I'm not invested in this bloodline. I'm not invested in Cody Rhodes. I'm not invested in SmackDown, but I'm enjoying that the matches are longer. Same thing I'll say for Raw. They need these matches. But this King of the Ring is saved their television, because I watch wrestling, guys. Sorry for wrestling. And it's nice to see 15, 10-minute matches instead of 2-minute matches. Lock up, headlock, rope, down, jump over, whatever, backdrop, roll up, we're out of here. That's what Raw was. That's what SmackDown was. Until Cody came, that's all it was. Now it's not Cody, but remember when Cody came, by the way, Bobby? And every match was a 30-second roll-up, but he was going 15, 20 minutes with The Miz, or 15, 20 minutes with this guy. It's like, wow, they're allowing him to go 15 minutes, but everyone else gets 1 minute? This tournament right here has proved that they can all go for 15 minutes. Even Jade can go 15 minutes. We never saw that in AEW.
No, exactly. And that's what's great about it right now. We'll keep moving along here. And you're hammering home these points that are awesome. Who the hell is the GOAT on Wednesday night? The hell are you talking about?
All right. So listen, we already spoke about AEW and Matthew and Nicholas Jackson and Elite, so we can skip that. We talked about how Swerve is an afterthought already. We could skip that as well. But we did have a contract signing with Willow Nightingale and Mercedes Moné. And I feel like for the first time in her AEW career, she actually did something productive. That was a very good contract signing. All contract signings are the same, right? They sit down, they cut a promo on each other, someone goes through a table. This time it was Mercedes. She went through the table. Willow cut a magnificent promo. If you follow me on Twitter, you did see it live where I said, wow, Willow is cutting a better promo now than Mercedes Moné has ever done. Ever.
I did get confused. I'm going to be honest with you. I saw that and I thought, I don't know why my brain said Wardlow. I'm like, what? Wardlow? I'm like, why are we talking about Wardlow? But it's Willow.
Yeah, Willow. Yeah, Willow. Did I say Wardlow? But Willow.
No, you said Willow, but
okay.
I saw Wardlow and I had to go back. I know I know who he's talking about now. All right, but go.
Which she was real. Everything she said, she brought up the TBS title and how much it means to her and TBS. She's the face of TBS. You know, this TBS title is more than just a mid-card women's title. It represents wrestling on TBS from 40 years ago. They're bringing back the history. Like they're really pumping up this title as this means something. So I respect that they're trying to make this match mean something. Mercedes, I'm not sure if she had a script going in because every single one of her promos is heavily scripted. Heavily scripted. She sounded like she was talking like Mercedes, like her real life. Like this, she was actually speaking like I'm speaking to you without a script. And she brought up, you're talking about history. You're talking about the face of TBS. You're talking about what you can do. Honey, I revolutionized women wrestling. Go back to Brooklyn. She didn't bring up Bailey, but she mentioned that Iron Women's match with Bailey in Brooklyn, NXT Brooklyn, the best women's match I've ever seen in my life. You know, Mercedes really was the head of that whole revolution, in my opinion. She just never got over like Charlotte because she's not Ric Flair's daughter.
Don't do that, man. Come on.
But it's true. But it's true. It's true. Charlotte doesn't deserve half the shit she got. Sorry. She doesn't deserve half the things she got. She doesn't. It's a fact. But Mercedes is the workhorse in that company in WWE. She's the one who put everyone over. She was the first person to get Ronda a good match. Mercedes is the best wrestler, period, in the women's division, any company, AEW, TNA, New Japan, WWE, doesn't matter. She's the best. She is. She's the most passionate. She cares the most. Her promo sucks, but this was a good promo. Her promo was awful. She can't speak. She can't. It's a fact. I'm sorry, but what she did there, she sold the match. I'm kind of excited for it. She went through a table. She took her first bump in the company, so on her contract. So that was good to see. She could take a bump. This made me think like, okay, this match went from I don't care because Mercedes is winning to I don't think Mercedes is winning anymore. Willow deserves to keep this title. Willow crushed it. Willow continues to crush it. You need to watch more AEW, sir, because Willow is a very, very bright spot in that dark, dark space right now. And she has been crushing it. She's likable. I said this many times. She's like Bailey because she's like happy all the time and smiles and she's got the group. But she could also get dirty and she could also do like some great professional wrestling. And she uses her body well because she's a bigger girl. She's not like Nia Jax who just walks around the ring and does nothing and hurts everyone. Willow can do some moves. Willow can get around. She has agility for a bigger woman, and she can go. I hope she wins. And Mercedes cut the best promo of her life because of Willow, I believe. You know, Shawn Michaels always carried people through matches. Willow pretty much carried Mercedes through this promo battle, and I loved it.
There you go, man. We're gonna have ourselves a little debate. Maybe not today, but one of these days we'll have some fun, dude. I mean, you can't. Come on now. Like, yeah, who got her foot in the door? It's Ric Flair, of course. But Charlotte, she put herself up. Charlotte Flair is one of the best in the ring and on the mic. Like, come on, dude. You know.
Sure.
What are you talking about?
Does anyone miss her?
I do. I miss her every day. You know, what are you talking about? You know, it's Charlotte fucking. Sorry, it's Charlotte Flair, bro. You know,
yeah, woo.
Yeah. Like, yeah, I'm with you on that. Like, in regards of like, first off, you know, the whole, you know, doing her dad's thing and all that a little bit. You know, I get a little tired. It's like, come on, you don't have to do that. But come on, like, she's had some freaking epic matches with some people that you don't think she would. I mean, she had a banger with Sasha Banks. She had a banger with Rhea Ripley. She and what she was able to do with a Becky and a Ronda and that feud felt believable.
You know why though?
She's a total package.
You know,
I mean, you don't have to think she's the GOAT, but don't act like she's trash.
You know why I can't stand her? She had no reason to be in that Ronda Rousey Becky Lynch main event. She had zero reason to be there, but she forced her way in there because she's Charlotte Flair and she thinks she deserves it. And she doesn't. She didn't at that time. She did not. Nobody wanted her there. Nobody. Maybe you. And nobody else. It should have been.
First of all,
she ruined that triple threat match. It should have been a one-on-one. It should have been the first women.
No.
Main event.
No. First of all, I don't know if she forced her way in because I didn't see that. But And I think more that's a Triple H, Vince McMahon thing about putting her in there. But if it would have been Becky versus Ronda Rousey, you think that main event would have? You think that would have been a great main event?
That was the main event.
Ronda can't wrestle. She was trash.
No, Ronda
she had
was
one
good
great.
that run.
She was
Ronda
a great.
Was
she
run.
did great with Triple H and Stephanie and Kurt because she was protected. But if you would have been Becky and Ronda by themselves, you think that would have been the same as the triple threat? The same,
better.
Because Charlotte with Becky and Ronda, them together made that into a better match because they could carry Ronda and then kill each other and have an epic thing because their feud is believable. The Becky, these two are closest friends or closest sisters. And then they had that thing where Becky smacked her, but then they also said like, no, we used to be friends, but we're not anymore. We don't really talk. So when they were in the ring together, you're like, they really don't like each other. They made it believable. And the same thing with Sasha and Bailey. Those four together, that needs to happen. That fatal four-way between the four horsewomen. But come on. If it would have been, to me, putting Charlotte saved that match. You needed to put Charlotte in that match. Shoot, you're going to put Sasha Banks in that match. It would have made a lot more sense. Even though she had nothing to do with it, you put her in that match because either that, you're going to have a crappy main event. It would have been a horrible main event for WrestleMania. Now you had a great main event because you put those three in there.
I thought it was a bad main event.
Because of Ronda. It was Ronda.
Because of Charlotte. Because the match. Listen, we can go on for nights and days about this, but the first time we ever thought Ronda was beatable because of the way she was booked is when Becky had her in the backstage in the man remember that?
Yeah.
The armbar?
Or not the armbar. What, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Whatever she calls it.
It's whatever. It's a behind the back armbar. Yeah, whatever.
That was the first time we ever thought, oh wow, Ronda's in real threat here. Ronda's in real threat. Like she's never not threat. She's in real danger here. She's never been in danger up until that point. And then they had the whole thing with the man and her bleeding and her doing this and that and them actually feuding and then Charlotte just for no reason, there was no story. It's just I want to be in this match too. They tried to make it a story. They tried, but man, it was bad. If they would
when you had that back behind the stage segment, when you have a segment behind stage, not in front of an audience, and I'm talking about when they were all getting arrested and they were getting thrown in the cars, and when you got people going. You really like you're watching and you go, oh shit, because they got Big Boot in the head and the door. Charlotte smashed the door into Ronda's head, and you go, that's what made it. That's what made the story. That's when you got invested because you're like, these girls hate each other. But whether she forced her way in or not, or that to me, when you say force, I think that's more of a McMahon Triple H thing. He's like, hey, we got to throw her in here. And again, I would have done the same thing. Because Ronda couldn't do it. She was fun. They tried to make her Brock Lesnar when she wasn't. Then they should have invested in training her more, but they didn't. So you had to put someone like a Charlotte. You could have put a Sasha Banks. I know that probably would have made you more happy, but they didn't. They put Charlotte. You know why they put Charlotte? It's very simple. They trust her. You know why? She's the GOAT. Case closed. Sure. That's it.
Sure.
That's it.
She didn't. Hey. She never main evented a singles match in WrestleMania, but Sasha Banks and Bianca did, and that was the better match, by the way. Saw it live.
That's a great match. I'm not arguing that. Sasha and Bianca killed it, man. Sasha needs to be Mercedes Moné needs to be back in WWE. I mean, and don't get me wrong, Willow and her could probably tear the house down. They more than likely will because of I haven't seen Willow. I know I've seen her, but I haven't seen her wrestle. But I know what Sasha Mercedes Moné can do. I know how great she is in the ring. I know that for a fact. So they're going to tear the house down. But can you imagine a Mercedes Moné in WWE right now with that women's division?
It's a shame that they had to disrespect her like that. It's a shame that what they said about her on air and how she took her ball and went home. It was embarrassing. And if I was
that was McMahon. That was McMahon. And maybe look. First of all, she has every right to do what she's doing right now. She's going to AEW. Make the money you're going to make. You're never going to make as much money as you're going to do right now. You're doing what Cody Rhodes did in a way. You went away. You brought your character to a whole other level. People gave a damn. I'm always aware of New Japan Wrestling. I would really love to get more involved in watching New Japan, but that made me focus more on New Japan when Mercedes Moné went to New Japan and when she built that character up.
Stardom, yeah.
That speaks to her, first of all, that she's able to reinvent herself. Still, she has the Sasha Banks, or everybody's watching because she's Sasha Banks, but she reinvented herself now to Mercedes Moné, and she's this whole other thing with CEO. So, you're right. That's the stupid thing about McMahon that he always did. He did the same thing to Steve Austin. Took your ball and went home instead of saying shutting up and just trying to work it out. Of course, Austin didn't come back because there was nowhere else to go. But if there was an AEW back then, and Austin would have walked away, and instead of saying, "Hey, Austin, I'm sorry, let's work," he also took his ball and went home and started talking trash. Austin would have went to AEW or TNA back then if it was TNA. Imagine what he would have done.
Right.
He didn't have that. She does. She did. And she's going to build. So when she comes back, she's going to come back with a whole lot more money and a giant freaking push like Cody Rhodes. And then you're probably going to get that 4 horseman main event that we should have got before she even left. Hopefully, at least.
I hope we need it. We need it because that's a match that we will always want. Sasha versus Charlotte versus Becky versus Bayley. All of it. That'd be awesome. Even if it was, a tag team, or even if it was a War Games, the 4 horsewomen versus a major, women's stable that we don't know that exists yet. That's down the road. That's down the road.
Down the road. Okay. Let's touch on very quick some outside the ring stuff here, some rumors, news, etc. And this is very interesting. We don't know. We know the lawsuit going on with McMahon and the victim. I won't say her name. We all know all that. Okay, and we know they never mentioned his name out loud, or they never wrote his name out. But we know when they say UFC champion, WWE champion, when they brought up those things, they said Brock Lesnar. Everybody assumes it's Brock Lesnar. We know it's Brock Lesnar. He hasn't been on WWE TV since. He's supposed to come out the Royal Rumble. He was supposed to have a spot with Gunther. Probably wrestle him at WrestleMania. Never happens. But he's taken out of WWE 2K. He's not there, but he's still on the roster. It just shows Triple H says he's not gone from WWE. He's still signed with the WWE. He's just at home in Minneapolis somewhere. Gunther recently telling Alex McCarthy, at Alex McCarthy 88 on Twitter, he says he still wants to face Brock Lesnar, quote unquote. I always saw Brock as my final boss. I always get portrayed as that. As the NXT UK champion, the Intercontinental champion, I was like the final boss of that division. And Brock, for a long time, was the final boss of the whole company. So I always saw myself in my future to be in a similar position to him. And to be that, you got to get in the ring with that guy. We'll see if there's a chance for that to happen again. I'm more than up for it. So I'm going to ask you this. I'm going to ask you 2 things at once. Okay. First thing is, do you think Brock Lesnar actually comes back to the WWE? And would you like to see a Gunther versus Brock Lesnar match?
Yes and yes. I think he does wrestle again. I don't know when. I don't know where. I don't know how long it will be till he clears his name or this goes away. But there's a reason why they didn't fire him or release him from his contract yet. I'm pretty sure they could some way. There's maybe a clause in there where if you're in legal, whatever, I don't know.
Yeah.
But there's a reason why he's not fired or let go. And it's because they do have plans for him, future plan. He's a money draw. He's an asset to TKO Endeavor. He's an asset. Yes, I want to see the match between him and Gunther because you have one box office draw and then a Brock Lesnar who everyone's going to tune into. You, me, Viking Dave, my son, my wife. We'll all tune into that match because we'll all be watching Brock Lesnar. The opponent he's wrestling will get a huge bump in popularity if he can go over on Brock Lesnar. We just brought this up. Triple H is building Gunther up little by little. Intercontinental champion, King of the Ring. What's next? A match with Brock Lesnar and winning and going over would put him over on the map big time, right? We would all know who Gunther is. Go ask a casual wrestling fan. Hey, do you know? I'll ask my buddy Davey. Hey, you know The Rock. You know Cody Rhodes. You like Gunther? He'd look at me like I'd never heard of him. But if he wrestles Brock Lesnar in a big PLE, let's say on SummerSlam, King of the Ring, whatever match you put it at, WrestleMania, he's going to get a huge bump. That's why I want to see it. Not because of what's going to happen in the ring. I don't care about the 15 to 20 suplexes. I don't care about the 3-minute matches where we just do finishers over and over and over again because that's all Brock can do. But I do care about the exposure Gunther will get from this and to make him a bigger star than what he is and to put him on the map, to make him a main eventer. That's what I want to see. Not interested in the match itself, interested in the results that's going to happen. It's going to be make or break for Gunther. Will he get over? Will the casual fan know who is his name? Will he be a household name, or will he just go, you know what? That guy was cool, but he didn't have the look or whatever. I want to see what happens.
I like that. I agree with you. I think it's a yes and a yes. I think Brock Lesnar will eventually return to WWE. When we don't know. To me, I would have, if I had to put money, it would be after whenever that lawsuit is over, they settle, whatever. Once that happens, I think that's when the big shock return will happen. After a pay-per-view, maybe in a Saudi Arabia, or that's when he'll make his return to make his first match in Saudi Arabia, because that's where the money is. I think it will happen eventually. I think they're just keeping him off the TV until that lawsuit settles and it's not that big a story anymore. Roman Reigns, the WWE Hall of Famer Devon Dudley, who now is on WWE 2K with his brother Bubba Ray Dudley and the new ECW pack, which is a lot of fun. Had a lot of fun. Had the deluxe version, so they finally downloaded in my thing, and I was playing. So I love the cause. I love when people, they create what do you call these? When you download, what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Custom creations or whatever.
Yes. I love going in there and download, because I want to download Bully Ray. I have different looks of CM Punk. I downloaded already CM Punk from the AEW when he was talking trash. And of course they had the big fight, the scrum. They have his look. He's all bloodied and everything.
That's awesome.
So I've downloaded all that. I love doing that. And I'll have a draft with my son. I was like, he's like, I want CM Punk. So we're all vying for that. But if I could get Bubba Ray Dudley on my brand, I'm going to have the badass heel Bully Ray. I know what I'm doing already. Anyway, just saying that before. But Devon Dudley had something to say, and we actually touched on this a little bit about when we were talking about the Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling and WWE, etc. Because in regards of Roman Reigns and his impact and what he means to professional wrestling at this time, this is what he had to say. He says, then in regards to Roman Reigns, I rank him in the same rank as Stone Cold Steve Austin, as The Rock, as Bret Hart, Hulk Hogan, Bruno Sammartino. He carried the company when others couldn't, and he did it for a long period of time. Listen, at one point in time back in the 80s, you had people like Hogan, Bruno, Flair. They would have the titles for almost 3, 4, 5 years. Then that type of thing went away. You wouldn't have that. You were a champion for maybe 6 months, and that was it. But Roman was able to captivate that and make it just like we did back in the day when we were counting how many days would Roman still be champion. Who would be tough enough to knock him off that pedestal? We had to make sure that the right person came along and was able to do that. We saw matches with him and other WWE stars that were legendary, yet we needed that one guy, and that one guy was Cody Rhodes. So I don't think anybody would argue that. We kind of did a little bit last week about who that guy could have been. It could have been Jay or Sammy or Cody. We had that little debate. We won't go there. But fair or foul here on what he's talking about Roman Reigns. Should Roman be in that same type of category as a Hogan and Flair and Austin and Rock? Has he done enough to be in that same tier as those guys?
Yes, he is the best wrestler in this era by far. He is. I don't know why Devon didn't mention John Cena in that same.
Sorry, John Cena. To me, I've told you already. To me, it's when you think of those grand icons, and I'm thinking about the guys that carried the company. You could start, of course, you could probably say Bruno there, but I'll say Hogan, Austin, Cena. Those are the three guys, and then probably next is Roman Reigns. Those are the guys that carried their companies, and Roman Reigns was the champion when WWE freaking broke the bank and they went to TKO and so he's a part of that era now, and it's mostly because of him. So yes, Cena, I apologize, he's there. Go.
Okay, so the fact that he was able to, and a lot of people, you were probably included, I know a lot of people are like, I hate part-time champions. I hate when they're off TV for a long time or they only defend the title. People are like, Orange Cassidy defended the TBS bullcrap Intercontinental, whatever they call it over there in AEW title 55 times this year. Roman only did it 4 times this year. Well, when Orange Cassidy's wrestling against jobber, nobody, jobber, it doesn't mean anything. When Roman wrestled, it meant something. I cannot stand when you have to defend the title every single month. It makes it stale. Cody is stale because of this. Damian Priest will be stale because of it. Every champion before will be stale because of it. We don't see Tyson Fury wrestle every 30 days or box, right? We don't see it. We don't see whenever Conor McGregor was on fire every single month defending his title. That's just the way it is. Real sports, if you want to portray this as a real sporting event, as not as a work, even though we all know it's a work, Roman can't wrestle every month. And Cody shouldn't wrestle every month. It should matter. He should defend that title when it matters, not Swerve Strickland out here on Dynamite against Brian Cage on a random Wednesday night in May. Roman Reigns made that title matter. Before him, it was bounced around between the Fiend and this guy and that guy, and we didn't care. Nobody cared. But when Roman took that title and when he was wrestling, and we're like, oh man, it's Backlash, or oh man, it's Bash at the Beach, or whatever pay-per-view they run, and he's not defending it. Why? Did you really need to see him smash Ricochet in 2 minutes? Or should we wait to see the story play out? Let's give it 3 months and he'll have a spectacular match that tells story. And that's what put him on the map there. Devon was right. We're counting the days because we're counting the days until his next title defense because we want to see it. We're not counting the days for Cody Rhodes and Logan Paul. Some might. But we're not counting the days with Swerve Strickland and Christian Cage because guess what? Next month they'll defend it again and they'll defend it again. It's an event when we see Roman Reigns defend his title. It's an event.
So shame on you for just assuming my opinion on this, saying I'm maybe one of these people. So no, but I will say I 100% agree with you. I don't, first off, part-time champion. When you're the champion, you should be part-time. You're a special attraction. That title should be a special attraction. It shouldn't be defended every pay-per-view. You know, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, the Rumble, WrestleMania, Saudi Arabia now. That's when it makes sense. Not Backlash. Not King and Queen of the Ring. Not Money in the Bank. You want to make your other titles seem like they give a damn? Make the world title the special attraction. Intercontinental US title, that should be your main event. Or an epic storyline, that should be your main event. Not the title. Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar was before then. I get it. You know, I don't think Hogan defended. I'm talking about WWF Hogan back in the day. He didn't defend his title all the time. That's how he did hold it for 4 to 5 years. Of course, he probably did more, probably traveled more, but that's how it was back then. But, you know, the title itself and the champion should be a special attraction. That way, when his music hits, it means something. That's why as much as people bitched and moaned and, forgive me, complained on Brock Lesnar, part-timer, whatever, and why is he here? And they roll his eyes. Oh my gosh, Cody Rhodes and Brock. Oh, Roman Reigns and Brock were the same people that when that music hit and he was gone for months and you heard that music, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I want, you know, that's what I'm saying. When you heard that, you jumped from your seat. It meant something. It's about to go down. When you don't see Roman for months on end and you know he's a champion, and you're like, man, I can't wait for Roman to drop the title. Guess what? When you heard that epic theme song come on, his theme, you jumped from your seat. You knew it was about to go down. The world champion. Goldberg, another one. People say, oh, he's part-time. He only shows up when he wants. He steals the spotlight from people. Guess what? I was at a Raw, and I remember people saying, oh, he's going to get – yeah, no one knew he was there, but people said it on Twitter when I went after. He watch him. He's going to get booed, man. He got booed. I think they pumped in the sound. They didn't pump in the sound. I was sitting there. No one knew Goldberg was going to be there. That music hit. Everybody got off their chair. Everybody started screaming. Everybody started saying, Goldberg, Goldberg, because we want the special attractions. We crave the special attractions. People lie to themselves when they say, oh, defend those titles every time. No, it means nothing. What they should do is, like you said, those main pay-per-views, hold that belt, make it mean something. So that way when a win like Cody Rhodes wins, and he won it after 4 years of Roman Reigns, it meant something. Now it's they're on a hangover right now. WWE's kind of, even though it's still as popular as it ever was, which is really feeding off Roman's, what he was able to do with this company, it's kind of going here because they're not treating it as the same thing. I can understand the world title. Like, okay, we need to have one of these titles a little more action or whatever until you get someone like a Drew. Well, Drew, if Drew wins it, wins it, he's going to have that feud with CM Punk. It's going to be active. It's going to be around. That makes sense. But the Universal Undisputed title, hey, you know what? Make that the special attraction. So that way when they go, you know what? Undisputed title's on the line at Survivor Series. Like, holy crap, it's on. You know, to me, if I was doing that, to what I think, I always wanted this. When you call, first of all, I can't stand when you call something the world title, even though it's the heavyweight undisputed title, WWE undisputed title. Okay, it's the undisputed title for WWE. But when you're the world's heavyweight champion, I would love in a perfect world, whether it was AEW or WWE, make it the world's champion. Who's the best in Japan? Go against him. Bring him in. Who's the best in freaking Saudi Arabia, whatever professional, do make it like that, like Ric Flair back in the day. That would be in a perfect world. But no, Josh, shame on you for just assuming my thoughts on this.
There I am.
You know what I mean?
Am. I messed up. Listen. I thought you were a casual viewer. You're a WWE guy. When I see a WWE guy, I'm like, oh, casual, super cas. Like he's a big Cody Rhodes guy, probably. Like he's into this stuff. So he does the whoa, right? Like
no, I don't do the whoa.
You know, whenever LA Knight's up there doing yeah, right.
I do that. I do that with my son. LA Knight, yeah, we do it all the time. You know? But that's because it's cool. Who wouldn't want to do that? You know?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, you nailed it on it. I wish, man. You know where you can get that though? AEW, but they don't do it because they have the forbidden door and they welcome.
But that, right? No, but that's why when they brought in the AEW championship, first off, it's a beautiful belt. It's a legitimate, beautiful. The world champion is nice. That's a gorgeous belt. But they have the forbidden door, and they've had people from New Japan and everything. Like that makes that title. If they would have stuck with that, that would have been way more important than the WWE title. WWE may have the greater product, but AEW's World Championship, that meant it because it actually went around the world. And that would have made the champion more important. That's what made Ric Flair so great. Hogan, obviously, it was Hogan and Flair, WWF, WCW, the reason why they're equals is not because they did the same amount of work. Ric Flair wrestled every night, but he wrestled against people from all over the world. He went to Japan. He wrestled there. So did Hogan, but not with the WWF. He would be loaned out and face Inoki and all that. But if it would have been Inoki versus Hulk Hogan for the WWF title and Hogan wrestled in Japan and he beat him, then that's like you're legitimately the world champion. You're beating the best. That's what Flair did. Flair wasn't as big as Hogan in terms of popularity because Hogan was on a national stage on WWE. But in WCW, that world heavyweight title meant more than the WWF title because it actually was defended around the world. Some company needs to do that. That's another missed opportunity. Whether it's the NWA, they're trying to find their way. I know they're trying to do something new over there. TNA, they're just rebranding themselves back to TNA compared to Impact. AEW could still do it because they have the access and, you know, with the Ring of Honor and so forth. WWE, you're as big as you ever are. You're wrestling all over the world right now. You really want to mean something with the world title? Make it actually the world title. This has been defended all over the world. It's going against the world's best, not just our roster. That's my rant on the world title.
I agree. I can't go any more on that. I agree, but they do still do forbidden doors because AEW wrestlers always go over. The only way, so the way this year, when July or June, whenever the pay-per-view hits, we'll talk about this more. Jon Moxley won the New Japan World Championship about 3 weeks ago. It got more attention than Swerve, by the way. They did that for a reason. They did it for a reason that nobody is looking at this. No podcaster I've listened to, no professional, not one person has said this that I know. And if they have, put it in the chat, tell me I'm a fraud. Jon Moxley won that New Japan title. So in Forbidden Door, the New Japan wrestler who will beat him will finally win a championship at Forbidden Door because AEW dominates those shows. So Jon Moxley won that title to put someone else over at Forbidden Door. Mark my words. Not sure who it's going to be. Don't really follow New Japan that well, but there's a reason why he won that title because the promoter over there is like, the F, Tony, why do my guys always lose? Can we do something? And Tony's like, probably, no, you can't win my world championship, but let one of my guys win your world championships, one of my top guys, and then have one of your top guys be my top guys. That's going to happen. Haven't heard anyone say that yet, but guarantee that's why they did it.
That is an awesome catch, and hopefully, let's try to remember that as it gets closer. And that just made me think. First off, I love the forbidden door concept. They should do that, not more often. That should be a special attraction. But I mean, it would mean so much more if you could have like that's what I love about the Royal Rumble now that they've allowed like TNA. That Mickey James one year, obviously familiar, but then I'm forgetting her name right now. But the TNA Women's Champion was in the Royal Rumble last year, and it was exciting. You have someone from another brand. First off, getting a rub in a major company and then coming back to the lower tier company, people are going to want to watch you now. They want to see you. They saw you kick ass in this Rumble. Now they're going to watch you somewhere else. It's good, but also if like obviously keep your company separate, but you know what? What if, and obviously TNA is in a different stratosphere now from what it was back then, but if a TNA did a thing with WWE and then you have WWE versus TNA, you get the world champion versus the world champion, that's going to make your titles mean more. And hopefully eventually gets to that. But I love the Forbidden Door comps. It's one of my favorite things that AEW does. But I agree with you. Well, what is that, or I would hope is that make it more as a shock thing, less obvious. Let your world champion lose to one of their guys. Imagine the story. Now holy crap, the AEW championship was dropped to this guy here. He's back in Japan, and then the world champion or whoever got to go to Japan and wrestle him and lose, or they come back and they wrestle here and he wins. Means something. I would love to see that. I have not seen that yet. I would love to see that in my lifetime. The Pro Wrestling World Championship actually be that is the World Heavyweight Championship. Maybe we'll get that eventually. I don't know, but it is what it is. Let's run this down. The next show we're going to have is going to be a reaction show. We're going to be reacting live to King and Queen of the Ring, not Money in the Bank. I don't know where my head is. I'm tired. I don't, I don't do any grass. That's not me. That's the other guy. So I'm not fried like that, but it's just my head. I could be talking about Fish Tank Hank, or I'd be talking about my other co-host here, Kimmel. But neither here nor there. Chris Jericho 2.0, I call him. But anyway, the Money in the Bank. We don't know what the final.
He called it Money in the Bank again. He called it Money in the Bank again.
I'll let you handle this part. We're talking about King and Queen of the Ring. We don't know the matches yet. I mean, in regards of the final, but we have an idea of how it could play out. So let us talk about the matches we do know, and then we'll talk about the matches that could be the case in regards to the tournament, and we'll predict our winners there. Cool?
Cool.
All right. So Intercontinental title, Sami Zayn, Bronson Reed, Chad Gable. Triple threat, IC title. How do you see that? How do you see that playing out?
I'm going to say, just like the Charlotte Flair thing, we do not need Bronson Reed in this match, period, point blank. But I do see, I want to say Chad Gable so bad, but it wouldn't make sense for the Creed brothers and Niles to actually come in and beat up Otis, because why would they, if Chad Gable wins his belt, wins his gold at this pay-per-view, why would he feel like he needs a change? Like, oh, this is working. So I do believe Sami Zayn retains. And maybe why Bronson Reed is in the match is so he can take the pin. That's the way I see it going. Maybe Chad Gable has Bronson Reed beat, right? He does everything. He hits his finisher. Sami Zayn comes in out of nowhere. Hell of a kick. Knocks out Chad Gable. He could pin Bronson Reed 1, 2, 3. Then Chad Gable could be like, where's my backup? Where were you guys at? Yada, yada, yada. Right? So I do believe Sami Zayn will retain.
Yeah, and that's the Monday Night Raw coming up where he finally makes the switch and gets the new team because he can't count on you guys. I like it. I'm with you. I'm going Sami Zayn on this. Becky Lynch versus Liv Morgan for the Women's World's Heavyweight title. A lot rolling on this one. This is going to be a heavily invested match. I think everybody's very excited to see this match. Does Liv Morgan, she's a former world champion, so it's not like she's going to finish her story, but does she regain the heavyweight title?
She should. She needs to.
Becky
she is tired, washed, old, don't care. Sorry. I'm sorry. I am. I'm just over her and her little mean mug face when she talks. It's awful.
Is it not believable? You don't believe she's a bad
I'm over it. Right? Okay. Like it's just whenever you're the same character, you do this. I want to see change. I want to see Liv Morgan win this title. I think she deserves it. Have her have that title in the Judgment Day with Dirty Dom, pretty much taking the place of Rhea.
Ooh, I like that.
It needs to happen. So, but I don't think it will here. But again, how many chances will Liv have if she loses? So
I don't think
I'm
she's
going
gonna
to go.
lose. I
I'm
think she
going to
wins.
limb. I'm going to take Liv. Taking Liv.
You're going Liv here?
I'm going
Yeah.
Liv.
I think she wins it, but I didn't think of that story that you just presented, possible story, but I think that would make a lot of sense if he starts saying, "Hey guys, let's get her in here." Obviously Carlito's trying to ease his way in there. That happened on Raw, and Damian Priest is like, "No," and I could see that could probably be the final button that pushes Damian out because Rhea's his girl. He's not going to want to. They're close, so. And Rhea really needs to be on her own anyway. She doesn't need to be with the Judgment Day, just like Damian Priest. The Judgment Day could continue living on with a JD, Finley being the leader, with Liv Morgan taking that place, and then, of course, losing eventually to Rhea Ripley. I think this is Liv's time. I think Becky, as a responsible champion, and as she is, as great as she is, I'm going to plug her just since you pulled her down like that, the way you just did. I think
she's great. She's great. But I'm done.
I get it. It's totally cool. I understand it. You're a hater. It's all good.
Great.
But no, it's fine, bro. Just let it go. No, Liv Morgan wins it here. This is very obvious. I get what you're saying. I wish it was title for title. I think it would have made it a lot more interesting and me a lot more involved, because then I'm like, are they really going to take the U.S. title off of Logan and put it on Cody, and Cody's going to be a 2-time? But when they said no, the title's not on for grabs, it makes it obvious this is a Cody Rhodes win. It's just Logan Paul is just a plug-in. You could have gone without this. You could have put Cody Rhodes. You could have put another match here and could have meant something. I don't know. But I have Cody Rhodes winning. Do you see an upset here somehow, some way?
The only thing I see is what spot do they work out? Because Cody Rhodes is a crazy MFer as well.
Oh, it's going to be a great match. I think it's going to be a fun match to watch for sure. Absolutely.
So I just want to see the cool spots. That's what we watch this match for, because we know who's going to win. Cody.
Yeah. All right. So Raw semifinal winner versus SmackDown semifinal winner, King of the Ring. We believe this is possibly going to be Gunther versus Randy Orton.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm predicting.
Can't be Gunther versus Tama Tonga, or because it would have to be Jay versus Tama Tonga. But again, that doesn't make sense at this point, because neither one, Jay, because he doesn't need it. It doesn't fit him. I mean, I guess you could put the crown on him, a little cool while they're doing the whole this and all that. But I think it makes a lot more sense to be King Gunther. I see Gunther versus Randy Orton. That'll be my prediction for the match presented by you. And if it is that case, Gunther's going over.
Yep.
Agree?
I agree. The only thing I can see differently is if Jay somehow beats Gunther on Monday night and we have Orton winning, because that's a big match too.
That's a mega match. Yeah, for sure.
A big match too. And then that's when we can see Jacob Fatu coming in and screwing over Jay. So I just don't see a world where you keep Orton off this show or Gunther. I just don't see a world, unless, I did bring this up before and somebody told me that this whole visa issue is over. Gunther has never traveled for a pay-per-view or PLE. He wasn't at Backlash. He was never at Australia. He has never left because of the visa issues. He can't travel.
That's right.
I was told that was lifted finally. Not sure if it's true. So if they have to pull the plug on Jey Uso, then they have to. But in a perfect world, it's Gunther. But I'm not sure. So King of the Ring General sounds a lot better than Yeet King of the Ring to me.
Okay. Now let's do this. If it's Jay versus Tonga, we got Jay, right? Or do you think he gets screwed?
If it's Tonga versus Jay, it's the heel. King of the Ring is made for heels.
Okay.
The heel's going to win no matter what, in my opinion.
So it's not going to be Jay versus Randy.
I don't think so, because it's two baby faces.
Baby faces, and Randy doesn't need it. And again, I could see Yeet. I could see the T-shirts. That's an epic T-shirt. Jey Uso with a crown, Yeet, and all this. But I just think it makes way too much sense for Gunther to go over.
Like Yeet with the Y with the crown hanging on one of the.
Yeah, dude. I could already see it, kind of like graffiti. Oh man, that's a nice shirt. Anyway, we'll never see it because we want it. Anyway, Raw semifinal winner and SmackDown semifinal winner for the Queen of the Ring. Which match do we think is going to play out here, and who do you think wins?
Man, it's tough because I think Io Sky deserves it. She's top notch. We've seen Bianca too much. Nia Jax has to on that side. So I do think we see a Nia Jax versus Io Sky. And you're saying, well, it's heel versus heel. Well, we just saw heel versus heel with Shayna and Io. I think now that I'm thinking about it, Nia has to win, man. She has to, because she's going to be the one taking on Jade. And if you need someone to take on Jade right off the bat, you need a legitimate person. I just won Queen of the Ring. Can Jade overcome Queen of the Ring? But then if you crown her Queen of the Ring, can she really lose her first feud? So that's where I'm at odds right here. That's where I'm at odds. I'm going to stay with my guns. I'm going to say Io Sky.
Okay. So it makes a lot of sense, Io Sky. They're making her look really good. It makes a lot of sense for me. But the more I watch what they've been doing with Valkyra, that's how I was going to go with the last name. I would, whatever. I think she will be in that match. I think Nia takes it. I think you're right. And I think Nia will win. I think it's I think they're really trying to do their best to make Valkyra look like a legitimate baby face in that division. What better than to put her in a match against someone like Nia, the ultimate villain right now, do their best to make her look really good, but lose. And of course, Nia will help the crown carrying it over to SmackDown against, like you say, Jade, and how that could go on. So even though Io Sky makes a lot of sense, wouldn't be mad at that match at all. That'd be a lot of fun. But I think Valkyra might be the one going against Nia here. And I'll be going with Nia. So there you go. So we got Nia, Queen of the Ring. We'll go Gunther, King of the Ring, if that's the matches. Of course, that could change depending on what happens this coming week. Sammy, Liv, Cody.
Yeah.
I think we're pretty much minus the match card. I think we're pretty much in the same
stratosphere. We park our cars in the same garage, except for we drive one different,
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
I drive the Corolla, you drive the Camry, right? I'm the lower and you but listen, we will be here though next week, right after the show, like 30 minutes after the show. We'll be breaking down everything. We will not be at our time slot at 8 p.m. on the East Coast. We will be there. So this is for future shows, everyone. When they have a PLE, we will be right on. It doesn't matter if it's 11 o'clock at night, midnight. Doesn't matter if it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 3 o'clock. We'll be there. So make sure you hit that subscription button, right, Bobby? You want to hit the notifications, because when we go on, live reaction. Not a lot of people do this in this community. There's a couple out there, but we're going to be talking about it right away, right when the show ends.
100%. King and Queen of the Ring. As soon as the pay-per-view ends, we're going to sit down. We're going to start getting ready. And we're going to go live to react to everything that goes down. Was it the right decision? Was it the wrong decision? Who went over? Who went under? It's going to be a blast. We're going to go one-on-one. It's going to be, and like you said, every premium live event, we are going to come on here and react live to it once it is over. We're going to be busy, but we're going to have a lot of fun. This was a great show. Episode 2 of the revived No Holds Barred Wrestling Podcast. I'm glad to be doing this with Josh Kimmel. I mean, I enjoy the back and forth and the differences of opinion. We do this usually off air through text and tweets. Now we get to do it one-on-one, and that's the best part of it. But again, catch us next. Actually, catch us again tomorrow. Show some support. Hop on down. You'll have the link below for Go Live Sports Cast. You can download that on Roku or on your smart TV. Tune in, show some support on there. We'll be here. And of course, next Saturday, we'll be live following King and Queen of the Ring. Not Money in the Bank. I'm on it now. I got it. King and Queen of the Ring live. Until then, guys, we appreciate you. And we'll see you next week.
It's the Fins Talk Sports Network, FTSN, talking major sports and even wrestling. FTSN crew. They're taking deep dives just to entertain you. Talking Dolphins, Heat, and Hurricanes. Marlins and Panthers and Inter Miami. Fans Talk Sports Network.